Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, and we've got some breaking news here. Daniel Penny has been acquitted. Now, I know many of you are familiar with this case. Marine veteran Daniel Penny was put on trial for criminally negligent homicide for putting a mentally ill homeless man, Jordan Neely, into a chokehold on the subway train in Manhattan, subduing him after Neely began threatening passengers and got rather violent. The defense argued that this homeless man, Neely, actually died for reasons other than the chokehold, a pre-existing condition, some health issues he had, while the prosecution, of course, tried to pin it all, the death completely on Daniel Penny and wanted to lock him up for it. Well, we now have breaking news that the Manhattan jury, after deliberating for several days, have officially acquitted Penny. And this is huge for a number of reasons. First and foremost, if you don't know, this was a case that was being tried by Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg. Yeah, the same Bragg that tried to take out President Trump. Yeah, that guy. He's a soft on crime lib, but nevertheless harasses former presidents, and in this case, a hero who came to the rescue of threatened subway passengers who were very concerned about their physical well-being. The prosecution of Penny is a perfect example of what we call anarcho-tyranny, where certain classes of people are considered above the law, whereas others, like Daniel and President Trump, are subject to intense legalism. So anarcho-tyranny is a combination of license and legalism. And what we found with Penny is that when you're playing fast and loose with the law, as Alvin Bragg appears to do, the whole system rots. So if you don't know, Daniel Penny was being tried on 2 counts. Second-degree manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide. Now, you probably heard about the fact that the jury last week was deadlocked on the first count. They couldn't agree on the first charge, second-degree manslaughter. So it was a hung jury, and it should have been dismissed. In a stunning development, Alvin Bragg basically told the judge, let's just throw out that first charge. Let's just throw it out and have them rule on the second charge, criminally negligent homicide. And the judge accommodated Bragg. He said, fine. And he instructed the jury to go back and make a decision on the second charge. Now, here's the problem with that. That second charge, criminally negligent homicide, is inextricably predicated on the first. So if the jury found Daniel guilty of second-degree manslaughter, then they could find him further guilty of negligent homicide. So the judge instructed the jury to rule on a charge that was only valid had they found him guilty of the first that he just dismissed. So in the words of one legal commentator, Andrew McCarthy in particular, he said the ruling was a total disgrace. So anarcho-tyranny involves corruption at every level. Again, very similar to what we've been seeing with the Judge Merchan court trying President Trump. Well, needless to say, none of it worked. And the jury recognized the nonsense and they acquitted Daniel. And I would say, I think the big takeaway in all of this in the end is that in many respects, this does mark the end of Black Lives Matter. The literally fanatical wokeness that swept our nation and its cultural institutions in the aftermath of the George Floyd riots centered on a radical oppressor-oppressed binary that was used to radically redefine criminals as victims and law-abiders as criminals, because law-abiders embody and perpetuate systemically racist structures that supposedly cause people to become criminals in the first place. Well, it looks like that ideological fanaticism has seen a very swift demise. We might call it the Bud Light effect, certainly in the corporate world, where more and more companies want nothing to do whatsoever with being associated with radical wokeness. That got implemented, particularly in corporate America over the last few years. Now it looks like that woke demise is finally coming for its progenitor, BLM. We're seeing it with the death of DEI programs in our universities, the defeat of CRT curriculum in our K-12 schools, the ratings implosions in woke movies and entertainment. BLM, which was once the strongest political movement in the nation in the aftermath of the riots, BLM does appear to have finally come to an end. The weaponization of all of our cultural institutions, particularly our legal institutions, for woke ends appears to have finally met its demise. And looking back, we may be able to point to this day, the day of Daniel Penny's verdict, as that fixed historical point when BLM and radical wokeness finally came to an end. Love you guys. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you